Hi, it's Dave.
Hi, it's Kirk.
Welcome to the A.D.K Rock and Metal channel. Today we're doing more of the broken down, pulled apart series where we take a song, we watch it, the music video, we break it into sections, and then we play it back for you, and of course give you our feedback on those sections one at a time. Today we're doing the band Nightwish. It's a band we've done many times on this channel on different incarnation or different with different vocalists, obviously with Tasha, Annette, and of course Floor. Today we're doing the song "How's the Heart," which is kind of their rock track, I would call it, off of the Human to Nature album, which was the 2020 album they brought out. Of that album, is probably would be, I would say, their most pop commercial rock track off of that album by a long way. It's worth having a go through it and having a sort of breakdown. And we're going to break this into three sections. So we're going to kind of break it into the first 2 minutes, and then we will do minutes 2 to 4, and then we'll just do the final minute if there's anything specifically we want to go through that. But let's play the first 2 minutes for you at home. Okay, well, I'm going to kick this one off because I knew going into this is not going to be a song for Andy or Kirk going into this. This was going to be a hard sell for you guys on Nightwish. I knew this was definitely going to be a hard sell for Andy because if this is so far away from Tasha era Nightwish, it's almost two different bands at this point. This could almost be a Floor Jansen solo song in a way. Now, when I first heard this song, I'd heard this obviously when it first came out in 2020. I really like this track, and I'm going to make no apologies about the fact that I really like it because I love rock. I'm a rock guy. This works for me. I love to start with the heartbeat. I love folk metal. I've always liked folk metal. So when that folk metal comes in, and this is one of the things I noticed with this album, and we heard it quite a lot with Endless Form's Most Beautiful, but it becomes even more apparent here is with Troy. So when Troy came part of the band on officially like on Endless Form Most Beautiful, but he's really became a more prominent member at this point where his contributions to songs were really starting to almost overtake Thomas's some of his keyboard parts. He was layering stuff on there, and you hear that in his backing vocals as well. So we get in there, we get this lovely there's a lovely swing, and it's interesting that how over time with Nightwish, how the guitars have become less and less to the point where they're almost non-existent in this track. There are a few points where it kind of cuts through in the midsection, but in this first section, they've almost become how we would presume basses are in a lot of these sort of bands, where they're just holding the back area. So we talked about on earlier ones like Bless the Child, you could hear how this good crunch the guitar was in there. And on this one, that guitar is just a little bit of fuzz in the background over underneath all these what Troy's playing on the fiddle and the keyboard parts. And I'm like, wow, what a change of direction for the band to actually of where their priorities are within the instrumentation. Beautiful vocals from Flora as expected. It's almost like this song's got like the AC/DC backbeat. It's that basic 4/4 drum pattern. I like it for it. I wouldn't want a whole album of it, but like an ACD one, but I like it. And then obviously we've got the chorus. Troy sings backing vocals on this one, so he sits there behind Floor. It's good, it's catchy, it's a rock track. It's basically like the band The Cause with a bit more rock grit behind them. It could, when you hear that chorus, and then it's I'm like, you could imagine The Cause doing that and just having a bit of a heavier band behind them. But yeah, and that's not me slating the band in any shape or form. That's just what it sounds like, and I still love it. It's absolutely, but it doesn't sound anything like a lot of. Well, there's probably others that sound a little bit like maybe like Elan off of Endless Form Most Beautiful was a similar kind of rock vibe to it, but it's different to a lot. It's very different to Noise that we reviewed a couple of weeks back. So, your thoughts on the first couple of minutes?
Yeah, I always start with context. I remember when this album came out, Human to Nature, in 2020, and I was thinking, how am I going to review this for Scream Blast Repeat? Because it's such an intimidating back catalogue, and most people I know are obsessed with this band. So I didn't feel I could do it justice. So I just outsourced it to someone to review. And guess what? They gave it a 9 out of 10 and said it had changed their life, etc., which I've no doubt it did because this person was obsessed with them. So I'm not going to go down the usual route of criticizing the innocuous guitars in the mix, because you've also enlightened me, Dave, and you've said this was knowingly a commercial album. And if I was to criticize it by saying, oh, they're a metal band, there's no weight to the guitars, that would be like going to Led Zeppelin 3 and saying, this is crap because there's not as many electric guitars in it, or Adore by the Smashing Pumpkins is crap because there's no electric guitars in it. When you actually understand those two albums in context, some of the best work both bands have done. So I'm willing to look at it from that angle. And it is good to hear something other than droning power chords. You're right, the fiddle sketches out the melody. And that's really quite virtuoso guitar playing from Empu to follow that. And we've seen that. I heard that in other songs like Noise. So I did like that. I appreciated it. The problem I've got, the pomp and earnestness of this song really is no different to Take My Breath Away by Berlin, for example.
Okay, yeah.
You know, that 1980s vibe. And I dare say that there's absolutely no humor behind that. There's no irony. And sometimes that can put me off this band. However, the catchy chorus, great clarity, memorable melody. Is it possibly in danger of extending for too long? No, I would say that they get it right. But I'm already thinking, after the first chorus, how are they going to get 5 minutes out of this song if it follows a standard pop script?
True. Let's play minutes 2 to minute 4 for you at home.
the sound, human pain. Come on in. How's that heart turning into silence? How's that love drowning in the fire? Let us sound, human pain. Come on in, the fire's warm. Down the blade, not some. How's that heart? How's that love drowning in the fire? Let us sound, human pain. Come on in, the fire's warm. Down the blade, not some. How's the heart underneath the silence? How's the warm drowning in the mire? Let us sound, human pain. Come in, the fire's warm. Burn the rope and dance some more.
Okay, so for me, looking into this, so when we get into this second minute, there's actually quite a lot of nice subtle layering. It's only you don't even if in casual listening you don't pick up the subtle layering because it doesn't you're still following that thumping bass line with the drum pattern and stuff. You're like, yeah, you're not really listening, but there is little bits of layering underneath that Troy and Thomas are actually adding in there, which is great. I think if it wasn't for Floor's bright vocal delivery, I think this song would just get completely lost though. I think it's Floor's vocals that are literally holding this song together as far as giving it any real major interest. Everything else is serving her. So even apart from like even when you got Troy doing like the little violin parts and stuff, it's all just to give a little bit of space so that when Floor comes in, and then everyone else is just literally holding the backbeat, holding the bass line to give her space, and then the big choruses again just to allow her. They're just background filler. And then she actually does some nice operatic vocals. And this is I'm just a shame Andy wasn't here to discuss that one side of it because I would have been interested to know what he would have thought because we obviously know with Tarja, she's great at the operatic vocals element of Nightwish. And that was where she was really strong within the early Nightwish catalog. She had a beautiful, delicate operatic style. Floor can do it, but doesn't do it very often. She's got more of a power. She's a big powerhouse vocalist. And so when she does do it, I think it's great to hear. And I'd have loved to have known his comparison with Tarja, and because we know that she does do the Tarja's vocals on the earlier stuff. When we get into this like minute 3 to minute 4, the guitar suddenly we get the chug over the dun 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 dun. Dun. It's not a lot, but it's nice to hear the guitars getting a bit more sort of focus on there. It gives it a bit more of metal edge. It's nicely balanced within it with the delicate piano part that's going on underneath it. There's nice delicacy in these sort of elements of the song, which I quite liked. And it needed that change up at that point because, as you say, where else was this song going to go? So they had to kind of go up a little bit in tempo. And of course, we're about to go back into the vocal. We go to everyone drops out and just goes back to the chorus with Floor singing, which was the most obvious thing that you can imagine doing. But then what we're saying is this is very much a rock commercial pop song in that sense. So this is following the formula that we expect to see within rock and pop songs. And we've seen it with many bands, even from bands like The Warning when we've reviewed them. There's a standardized structure, and we see that with Paramore. And if you want to be commercially successful pop rock songs, baby metal, whatever, you tend to have these formulaic structures because people like it. They love the intro, they love the verse, they love the chorus, they love another verse, they love a chorus, they need a middle section, either a breakdown or a solo, and then they love a repeat of the chorus doubled up at the end if you can. And they like that because that's a standardized structure. It's your brain is expecting it, so they feel happy because you've given them something that they expect. And that's why I think that one works really, really well. But yeah, so minutes 2 to minutes 4 for you.
I'll pick up on that word commercial because that doesn't always mean lack of integrity.
Oh, no, not at all. Please don't say that.
Exactly. That's it, because I know you weren't saying that. And I'll give you an example. Metallica, 1990, when they go into the studio for what became the Black Album, how do they get these technical 8-minute songs into a smaller song length, shorter song length, without sacrificing any of the heavy, crunchy guitars and the headbanging drums. And they did a really good job of it. And it wasn't a case of, oh, they want to do that to make money. It didn't seem like that to me. It's actually more of a challenge. It's like, okay, we've done all this. This is what people listen to. This is what gets on radio. Can we do something like this without jeopardizing the heavier parts?
Yeah.
And this probably sounds like something similar, doesn't it? So you made some good points in this as well. These types of songs where the bass and drums provide the foundations and the verse parts are ideal for Floor Jansen because it gives her space to express herself without much in the need of adapting to the musical instruments. They all dance around her, really, don't they, to use that term. You're right, the middle eight's the most interesting part of the song. It becomes quite technical. I think you get like a rush of 3 different guitar riffs, and then you've got flourishing keyboards, a lot going on, and that actually facilitates a key change in the vocals. And then, yeah, Empu, the guitars, they land a heavier punch, don't they? I think that's the moment where the band have finished the pre-production. They're in the studio, listening to the original demo, and he's come in and said, look, our roots are a metal band. We need to do something here that's a bit spiky. And he's held sway, hasn't he? You know, they've said, yeah, you're right. So
give me something to play.
Yeah, exactly. It works. And then I do like the ending to this song. Floor Jansen's decision to push up through the octaves in the last rendition of the chorus, sensational vocal performance. And you're right, keeps you interested and elevates this above a formulaic, mediocre listen that wouldn't really have much repeat listen value. It does for that reason alone. I'd not heard this song until you asked me to go away and listen to it once and write down notes. If I had to give a judgment, to me, this is probably just pushing a 6 or a 7 out of 10. Probably a 7 because you've convinced me what their goals were, and it doesn't make any sense to criticize them because there's no heavy guitars in the mix. That's not what they wanted to do on this album, it sounds like. And I've tried to look at the other elements. You're right. Put headphones on, as I did. I was picking up, piano sprinkles here and there, different instrumentation. It'd be good to see the Cubase or Logic, whatever they use, to see all the channels and what instruments were, and on like the graph that you would see when you're doing that. So I think they're successful in fitting this into 5 minutes. My fear was that how are they going to get 5 minutes out of this? The middle 8 and that heavy metal tangent is the answer, isn't it? That's what they do to prolong it. You don't need a guitar solo. I think they're wise to avoid that. But I don't think I've heard a song where he does play lead guitar. Surely there are some where he's going through the scales.
He does do some in the earlier. I think he did something off of Endless Form Most Beautiful. He might have done something like that. I don't remember anything.
He's got the chops, this guy, hasn't he?
Yeah. It tends to be more Thomas doing it on keyboard lead. I think he does more of that. I mean, the thing I found, when she goes up at the end on that last chorus and she really belts it out, do you know what it reminded me of? The same feeling I get whenever I hear Heart do Alone.
Yeah,
she's like, she does that, and then she does that. Whoa, and she does, and it's funny because Flora obviously has done a cover of that and can nail that. But it's such a powerful thing. And so when you said about Take My Breath Away, and I'm thinking another great band, Heart, Alone.
Yeah,
it's got that element of it, but it's got that big arena rock vibe to it. But I think if this had been Annette Olsen doing the vocals on this song, we'd probably be having a very different conversation about it, because Floor really holds this track up. But this is a song that's been designed to really allow the vocalist to deliver. So it's not where Thomas is going, right, I'm going to do this really cool piano piece and I'm going to do this and we're going to have orchestral percussive hits, we're going to have really interesting dynamic changes. They're like, no, we want the vocals to tell the story here and let the vocals do the job. And I think they're lucky in the sense they've got Floor Jansen as the vocalist to do that, because she has the chops to do it.
Maybe restraint isn't the right word. She's saved the best to last. Because sometimes, when you're appraising bands and they've got really technical singers, one of your criticisms is they just do that at 100% and belt their way through it.
Yeah.
And you're right. Save it so that those moments are spectacular. And that's what she does here. I mean, do you know what? I'll give you a left field comparison. The song that a lot of Metallica fans hate, Mama Said from Load.
I love that song.
How emotional, exactly, when James said that's probably
James
his best
Hetfield on
ever
that is
vocal
amazing.
performance. How passionate and emotional is that? And we know what it's about, the death of his mother. And I love that song, and he saves it to the end, and you kind of know it's coming. And then when he does that, you know, in a male rock voice, and that is sensation. This does the same thing here, even though you know it's probably coming. When it does arrive, like when you order a takeaway and your mouth salivating and it lives up to expectation, that's what happens here. And yeah, great ending to the song. So very clever. I don't know how they've negotiated this. Maybe someone said, don't belt your way all your way through it, or she's just thought, right, okay, I've got all this space in the song, I'm going to build to the climax. But they've all come to the right decision at the end.
It makes sense for the song.
Yeah.
Saying that about Metallica, though, and that's out, I'm going to say it, put it out there, Load, best Metallica song ever, or best album ever, in the sense of honest songwriting.
Yeah, in terms of
because they wrote what they wanted to write from their heart, of their what's personal. They didn't go into it with any preconceptions of we need to write a heavy album. With Justice for All, they wanted to write technical. With Metallica's, but with the Black Album, they wanted to write something that was more commercially, but was still metal.
Yeah.
And all the previous ones, Master of Puppets, they went in, and there was always something with Load. They went in and went, we just want to sing about with our influences and do what feels right. And then they were doing country, but it was all honest. And I actually thought the songwriting was phenomenal on it. And then they went off and did freaking Saint Anger and Death Magnetic and all that lot. And I'm like, you know what? You're just fucking just churning out bollocks again.
I think Load is the album that you can take those songs, strip them down to a man on a piano, and they stand up.
Yeah.
Clearly, you're not going to do that with Battery or Fight Fire with Fire, which are amazing.
They're amazing, but they're designed for a purpose. Right. They were single-mindedly
you can actually, I think songwriters, you know, like even a Nashville songwriter, if you showed them that album and they started interpreting it, you're right, they would find that quite easy. And
things like the house that Jack built, and there are some amazing Carpe Diem, and there are some absolutely phenomenal.
I mean, it's a big sellout album, but you're right. There is from a songwriting perspective and lyrical themes and the way that they've arranged the songs is very high standard.
Anyway, we won't talk about Metallica, but that was Nightwish and How's the Heart. If you enjoyed our video today, please do like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the video sometime very soon. Take care.